Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. June Allen here from juneallen.net, CEO and founder of The Art of Greatness. Hello. Thanks for joining. So thanks, everyone. I hope that you are having a really good New Year so far, to day one. It feels really weird that we're in 2021 already. But yeah, so hello, thanks for joining. So it just feels really good. So for those of you that do not know anything about me or what I do, my name is June Allen and I am the founder of The Art of Greatness from juneallen.net, and I teach Black women who are struggling with self-love, sisterhood and sobriety. So today, in light of us being in the new year and everything, I wanted to share 3 essential tools that you're going to need for this year. Okay, some lessons that I learned from last year that I want to empower you with for this year, that are going to really help you regardless of what's going on, you know, with this pandemic or whatever. I just really want to use this as an opportunity to really empower you to be able to take on the year with fearlessness and so just feeling really great about sharing with you today. So for those of you that don't know anything about my work, I started my own personal growth journey back in 2009 out off the back of some really dysfunctional destructive relationships, abusive relationships, and I wanted to find out what was going on. I wanted to figure out what was it about my process, what was wrong with my picker, basically. So I went into 12-step recovery. I had some serious relationship issues that needed to be unpicked, that needed to be explored, that needed to be unlearned. And it was really good. I had an amazing time. I learned a lot about myself. But what was missing was the cultural context. I didn't understand what it meant to be a Black woman doing this work and how that kind of applied to the wellness process. So as a result of that, I then became obsessed with reading a lot more, just exploring, reading a lot of work by Black scholars, exploring my own process, and just starting to have a lot more conversations with myself about what was appropriate and what was and what I needed. And when I started doing that, the light bulb just started going off. It just started to make sense, the link between racism and my low self-esteem, my self-hatred, my, the trauma that had been passed down through the generations, the trauma I experienced within my family and all of that kind of stuff. It just kind of all made sense. And so as I began to explore and understand a lot more of this stuff about myself, hi Jack, thanks for joining. I basically just started sharing it more publicly because a lot more people started asking me for support around this sort of stuff. So I just started sharing a lot more honestly. I set up this platform in 2006 and started doing more live streams, just started sharing, and there was so many more people out there because I thought, I know I'm not the only one who feels like this. So and that's how The Art of Greatness was born. So that's me. That's a little bit about who I am and what I do. If you don't know anything about my work and what I do on this platform. So I'm a mum also. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a speaker. I'm a retreat facilitator, and I'm also a therapist in training. I started training as a therapist back in 2014. And thank goodness I am now on the last level of my training. I just feel really grateful. It's been an amazing process. I absolutely love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. And I love training. I love being a therapist. I absolutely love it. It's been an amazing experience. It's been great for my own personal growth, and also as I'm learning all the things that I'm learning on the training, I'm sharing them with my community. I run a Black women's mastermind as well, a wellness mastermind, which has been absolutely phenomenal last year, and I just feel really privileged and humbled that they've allowed me to be part of their process, as supporting them as a peer support person, and obviously as when I become qualified as a therapist, then it's just an amazing process and I love it. But anyway, that's enough about all my stuff. I'm going to stop rabbiting on. I'm going to get on with what I need to be doing. So for those of you that have just joined, my name is June Allen and I'm the founder of The Art of Greatness at juneallen.net. So today's topic is all about, I'm going to share 3 essential tools, okay, that are going to help you this year. Some lessons that I learned last year that are really going to help you with this year, okay? So the first thing is I'm going to share 3 things, okay, 3 essential tools. The first one, okay, is the ability to say no. Okay, no, I realised last year was a superpower, is a superpower, because it's being able to say no is something that I've always struggled with. Even now, I sometimes struggle with it. But the difference between now and the struggle that I had before was that I understand now that I need to just sit with the discomfort around saying no. And I had to say a lot more in 2020 because obviously with everything that was going on, and you know, because of this support work that I do as well, I was getting a lot of people that were you know, that wanted my support and all the rest of it, and there's only so much that I could do. There's only so much that I could do. Obviously trying to parent, homeschooling, trying to keep this platform going, trying to keep my own sanity. My dad also passed last year as well, which was really difficult. So trying to manage all of that stuff and take care of myself was really hard. So I had to get really good at saying no, and then having to just process whatever feelings came up, the guilt, whatever it is. I had to learn to process it. Now, obviously, with everything that's going on with the pandemic and all the rest of it, there's so much uncertainty out there. We don't know what's coming on. Every time you could turn on the TV in the UK, I don't know what it's like in the States, but in the UK, every time you turn on the TV, there's some different rule, there's some different tier, they've changed the rule. There's so much different stuff that's going on. There's all these different things that are going on that they're talking about with the vaccine, and there's so much stuff that's conflicting, and it can be quite stressful. You know, it can be quite stressful. But having the ability to say no to what information you're going to be reading, absorbing, you go on social media, there's loads of stuff going on there. Being able to say no, not just to other people, but also to yourself. Okay, hi Lorraine, thanks for joining. Just being honest with yourself, being able to say no to you, to understanding what's good for you. Okay, understanding what's good for you, so being able to say no to whatever it is, okay, is really going to help you this year. It's really going to help you, because otherwise it's so easy to get drawn into all of the negativity. It's so easy to get drawn into all of the contradictions and the manipulation and the fear-mongering, the scaremongering, all of that stuff. A lot of that stuff just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of the stuff that's going on with this COVID, so it doesn't make sense. So, you know, I made the decision that, you know, I check in with, you know, whatever's going on. You know, I have a limited amount of time that I watch the news and stuff like that. But that's my way of saying no. I'm saying no to constantly being bombarded with all of these different things, because it's not good for my well-being, you know. And for you to be able to do that this year means that you're going to be able to take more charge of, you know, how you're feeling and how you're responding to all of this, because the more you kind of absorb yourself with all of the things that's going on, it's going to have an impact on your well-being. It's going to have an impact on your well-being, whether you want to admit it or not. It's going to how you respond to it, you know, is going to have an impact on your well-being. And so, you know, you might feel more anxious. I know that there've been times where I've watched too much news and my anxiety's just gone through the roof. And I made a decision, I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not doing that to myself. And when I catch myself, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I'm feeling like this, and this is why, you know, this is why, and this is what I need to do going forward in order to take care of my well-being. So with all the uncertainty, with everything that's going on in the news, and let's not forget, we're still living under the system of racism, so you still have to deal with all the oppression, the microaggressions, all that stuff as well. Anyway, you know, we'll be hearing stories all the time about people that have gone into, you know, they've gone into hospital, the disproportionate levels of care that black people are experiencing and all of that kind of stuff. Again, it just adds to the stress of it all. It adds to the stress of it all. So, you know, it is really, really important to remember that there's all of this stuff going on. So limit, it's about limiting your, you know, the time that you spend watching the news or going on social media and seeing all of these things. And another way that you can say no as well is to, you know, to unfollow certain people. That's not to say that you're not going to keep yourself informed, but it's about knowing what your limits are. Knowing what your limits are. If your news feed on social media is constantly about people who are always complaining, that are always, you know, that are negative, all that kind of stuff. If your news feed is always about all of that, you're going to absorb that, and that's not going to be good for your well-being. So it's about making sure that there's a balance, and that, you know, the people that you are following and getting all this information from are from sources that you trust. you know, that are going to empower you as well to take action around your well-being and not just showing negative stuff all the time. You know, hi, thanks for joining. So that's number one. Okay, number one is sticking to the word no. Okay, no is a superpower. Okay, the second thing is being able to emotionally pivot. Okay, the second thing is being able to emotionally pivot. Now, what I mean by that is one of the things that I found really useful for me last year is that I have a plan. I had a plan. I have a system. Okay, I have a plan. A wellness plan. Let me just see. So I'm going to just put a note in there. So it says, in life we are judged not so much what we say, but what we say no to. Yeah, knowing our worth is one of the most powerful things we can do. 100%. And I always say as well is that you can learn a lot from a person by how they respond to you saying no. You can learn a lot from somebody from how they behave around you when you say no to them. And that's a really good test of that person, whether that person's respectful of your boundaries or not. So yeah, so you know, no is really is a superpower. So yeah, so emotional pivoting is about understanding, like, even in the midst of all of the insanity of last year, the midst of what's going on with the pandemic, the uncertainty, the Black Lives Matter, all of that kind of stuff, even though it was really stressful and it was traumatic and it was painful, I was able to emotionally pivot because I had number one, I had a wellness plan, okay, that helped to keep me on track. I had a wellness plan that I had at home. I have tools at home that I can use. I know that the three things I have to do every day is I have to find somewhere, I have to find a way of release, I have to find a way to reflect, and I have to find a way to renew. Okay, so release is about releasing the stress out of my body. So that means doing yoga at home, that means maybe walking around the block, that might be to cast in my journal, whatever it is, I would find some way to release the stress out of my body, be it mentally or physically. I had to release that out. The reflection is around, okay, well, what is it triggering in me? What is stressful about this situation? You know, what can I do? Is it triggering old stuff from my past that's really painful? And then the third thing, renewing, is finding ways to self-soothe in the midst of all of the nutty things that were going on last year. Yes, breathing, Lorraine, is a really good one. Breath work is amazing. Just having that moment to be still, to pause, and just check in with your body, check in with what's going on, check in with what's going on with your thinking. These are all really small things that often we take for granted that are really important part of the self-care. And in the midst of everything that's going on, I know it's hard because a lot of people were stressed, they were losing work, all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I really found was that, number one, worrying doesn't help. I know it's easy to say, oh, don't worry about it. But when I used the tools that I had, okay, to pause and to journal or do whatever I was doing, the three things that I was saying before, I found that I was in a better place to think about what I needed to do, because I can't think when I'm stressed. I can't think when I'm overwhelmed. I can't think when I'm panicking or worrying or just feeling really anxious about all the stuff that's going on in the news. What really helped me was shutting that stuff out, turning off the phone, doing some meditation. I would do some meditation first. I would ask my ancestors for help, saying, look, I don't know what the F's going on. I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, but just give me the right tools to use, give me the right people to speak to, and just being able to do those things, those really simple things, helped me to tread water, helped me to tread emotional water, or emotionally pivot, which is what I was saying is number two. Helped me to emotionally pivot because I had an understanding and self-awareness of what was going on in my body. I had an understanding and self-awareness of what was going on in my brain. And so my emotions and my feelings then didn't become something that I was kind of dragged through 2020 by. I wasn't dragged through 2020. I used my feelings and my tools. So I used the way I felt as a way to understand what I need. And then I was able to emotionally pivot. I was able to emotionally pivot because, hang on, I just need to plug in my phone. This phone's going to die on me. I was able to emotionally pivot because I okay, Okay, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm going to have to do it like that. I was able to emotionally pivot because I understood. I had a good sense of self. I had a good sense of self-awareness. So I wasn't going to. I didn't allow myself to get dragged around by all of the negativity and everything else that was going on, because I understood what was going on for me, and I was able to use the self-awareness as information to help me to take care of myself, as opposed to being dragged through it. But when you don't have any self-awareness, when you don't have a sense of self, when you don't have a system, when you don't have a process at home, it's hard. It's hard not to go into that insane place and not know, and not know what you're doing. One of the things that I'm doing in the mastermind this year actually is I've been working on a new course called Self-Love Essentials for Black women, and basically it's going to be a course which is going to give you all the foundational tools that you need to be able to set up your system, basically to set up your system that you do at home. So this month we're looking at where you are now, telling the truth about where you are now, and we're going to be doing some visioning as well. So we're going to be looking at how to set heart-centered goals for racial wellness, not just throwing out any old goal setting. It's got to be specifically around wellness and specifically around what it means to be a Black woman, and then we're also going to be doing some vision boarding as well. So that's what we're going to be doing this month, because, setting all the foundational stuff is such an important part of how you move forward. Next month, we're going to be looking at more specific stuff around how to manage your emotion as well, and then in the third month we'll be looking at breaking down racism and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to be it's going to be 6 masterclasses over the next the first quarter of this year, and we're going to be really looking at all of the foundational tools that you can put in place that you can do at home. Okay, the stuff that you're going to need to do at home to take care of yourself. And then obviously any additional support that you need and stuff like that, we'll talk about that as well. But you'll be held in a space. If you're interested in joining the mastermind, actually, you can click the link in the bio. Go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. So having your being able to emotionally pivot, is really, really important. Is really, really important, and that really, really saved me last year, because oh my God, there was just so much stuff going on. And, even though I had my moments where I had my meltdowns, I had a lot of my own stuff going on, I was able to work through it. I didn't ignore it. I didn't allow myself to kind of hide under the duvet. I was able to pivot, and I was able to pull back as well sometimes when I needed to. Sometimes I needed to pump the brakes and go, do you know what? Today I just need to stay in bed. Today I just needed to stay in bed. But because I had a plan, because I had a wellness plan and I had tools, I was just able to pivot what I was doing as a parent around this platform. I was able to pivot all of those things because I had an understanding of myself. I had an understanding of self-awareness, and I was able to use the tools that I had so that I didn't completely lose the plot around what I was doing. And that there's so many there's so many women out there. I know that a lot of you are doing this by yourself, and you don't have to. You don't have to. And that's the third thing on my list, okay? The third essential thing that you need. There's so many of you out there that I know that you were just trying to struggle along with this by yourself last year. And, I know that with everything that was going on for me, there's no way I would have been able to do or continue to do what I was doing, parenting, all the stuff that I did on this platform, set up my mastermind. I couldn't have done any of that without support network. It just would not have happened. It just would not have happened. I still kept seeing my therapist. I was able to do trauma work still when I was seeing my therapist. I still was able to attend, recovery meetings. I needed support. And I also had extra support around my business stuff as well. I had a business coach. You got to ask for support at the end of the day. And it's really hard for a lot of us as Black women to ask for help. We think that we have to do it ourselves. We think that, sometimes there's shame involved around thinking that we don't want to appear to be weak. Sometimes it might be that we have difficulty trusting other Black women, which makes it hard for us to reach out and ask for help. But I'm just letting you know now. Hi, Marie. Thanks for joining. I just need to let you know now that now is not the time for you to be thinking that you can do this by yourself. Now is not the time, you know, to be worrying about, you know, if you don't trust other black women, then you need to have the conversation with yourself about why, and find someone that you trust. You know, even if it's not me, you've got to find someone who you can trust. Happy New Year. You know, asking for help is hard. You know, and even sometimes I can find myself in that situation where I don't want to ask for help and I'm trying to be Wonder Woman, you know, but I get out of that situation pretty quick. I get out of that situation pretty quick because I know it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me as a woman. It doesn't serve me as a parent. It doesn't serve me as a you know, as somebody who's trying to you know, nurture a platform. And I can't serve my community. I can't serve the ladies in my mastermind if I'm not taking care of myself. I have to practice what I preach. I have to practice what I preach. I can't serve them from an empty cup. And the ladies in my mastermind will, you know, will tell you, like, you know, I show every Sunday at 5 o'clock. I show up for them, and I don't just show up, you know, with nothing to say or whatever. I show up fully in the session, and it's only because I've been able to take care of myself. And I can't take care of myself unless I'm asking for help from other people. I can't do this by myself. I had to learn that the hard way. And it's stressful trying to do it by myself, and it just creates a lot of resentment. It creates a lot of anger. It creates a lot of shame. There are so many things that happen as a result of me not asking for help, and I know that a lot of you as black women are in that situation, you know, and I know it's really difficult. It's really, really difficult, especially when, you know, you don't trust other black women, like I was saying before. And this is something that has come up a lot as well in the mastermind around, you know, not being able to trust black women. And I've done live streams before about it. If you look through my live streams on my with you on Facebook or Instagram, you know, I've actually talked about that in the live stream, about what to do, you know, how to heal with other black women when you don't trust them, you know. But this year is something that you know, it needs to be kept in the day. I always say, you know, obviously you can give yourself permission to dream a little bit and to think about what you want. Don't just allow the year to kind of drag you through. Don't allow 2021 to drag you through the year again. You know, it's important to give yourself permission to dream a little. Give yourself permission to put some nice things for yourself in place, and then just be willing to be open to surrender to pivoting. If things change, or if whatever, there's lockdown or whatever it is, then you obviously make changes, you pivot around that. But it's important to, for now, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm focusing a lot on making sure the little things at home are nice. You know, focusing on making sure that my home is really cozy, making sure that I've got nice food in the fridge, making sure that, you know, I give myself an extra 10 minutes to moisturize my body, making sure that you know, that I'm having my Epsom salt bars. You know, one of the things that ladies in my mastermind are really obsessed with, and I absolutely love them talking about it. You know, the Epsoms, having lots of Epsom salt baths with lavender in and all of that kind of stuff. Because when all this stuff is going on externally that we don't have any control over, it's important for us to just remember those small things that we can do for ourselves are really, really important. Actually, if you click the link in my bio, I have I have a free PDF with 101 simple self-love tools. Okay, 101 simple self-love tools. So if you go there, if you click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. You can get this thing with 101 simple self-love tools. You can download it absolutely for free. Okay, absolutely for free. So I'm giving that away as a way to empower you to be able to do that. So that's it. I mean, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Very short and sweet session today, but I just really wanted to empower you this year to just not lose hope, and just to really just focus on the small things, focus on the little things, and to remember that no is a complete sentence. No is a superpower. Okay, you can say no. The second thing is to emotionally pivot. You know, build that self-awareness with yourself. Do it through journaling or whatever, so that you can really start to understand, you know, how you're responding to everything that's going on, and not just being dragged along by it. The more you write it down and you have conversations with yourself about how you're responding to it, that's going to increase your self-awareness, and it's going to help you understand. Once you understand yourself, you understand what you need, and then you can just, you can just act accordingly. And the third thing is, don't do it by yourself. Don't go through 2021 by yourself. You don't have to go by yourself. And if you struggle with trusting other black women or whatever, take your time and choose somebody. Choose someone who you trust. You get a vibe from them. Maybe if it's a new therapist or whatever that you're trying to figure out, just have maybe 1 or 2 sessions with them. See if you vibe with them. See if you like them. And if they don't work, look for somebody else. But don't deny your own needs because somebody else is not acting appropriately or whatever. If you don't trust black women, talk to yourself, find out what that's about. Because a lot of the women, all the women in my group pretty much have said, that they've had moments where they struggled to trust other black women, but they wanted to heal with them. That's a huge contradiction, and I understand it, because obviously they had, there may have been issues or whatever with black women in their family or whatever, raised in an abusive home or whatever it is, and so they found it difficult. But just in having that conversation, it made it easier for them to be able to explore it and to actually to step into exploring what that's about, and to begin the healing process around all of that, and finding a place that feels safe for them. But it takes time to do that. But give yourself permission to take time. Give yourself permission to take time to look for somebody that you feel comfortable with, and then you can begin the healing journey. But don't deny yourself because you're holding on to that, oh, I don't trust black women conversation. If you want to go through your healing process, if you want to survive, the 2021 and going forward, and be part of a sisterhood and all the rest of it, you have to be willing to explore that conversation. You have to be willing to explore that conversation. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I hope the first day of 2021 is going to be peaceful, abundant, and loving for you. If you've got any questions or anything about anything that I've shared today, you can email me at info@yardofgreatness.com, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.